Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and welcome to Ramat Air Base, where I am sitting here on the runway in an F-15 Eagle of the Israeli Air Force. And today I'm going to be taking a look for the very first time at the Syria Map, which I've just purchased during the DCS World summer sale, which, by the way, ends today. So I'm going to go ahead and take off here. There we go, gear up. And my head tracker is a little bit being a little bit weird today, but just from looking at the Syria map from this perspective, honestly, I really like it. This is great. So you can see down there a lot of buildings. They're pretty highly detailed too, especially from my view up here. It's, you know what, I'm actually, I think, going to take a look at the frame rate here. Yeah, it's I'm getting about 30 FPS here, which, considering the hardware that I run, and if there's enough interest, I will do a separate video on my actual system and all the hardware that is in it. But basically, this is kind of what I would expect. It's not absolutely tanking my FPS, because normally I get about 40-ish on a good day. I'm going to go ahead and back off on the power a little bit. We've circled back here. You can just see Ramat Air Base that we're kind of crossing back over. One thing that I did notice that really surprised me was the high number of air bases that are actually on this map. There are a lot of places to land on the Syria map. There really are. And I will definitely be doing a lot more videos involving Syria, although there will be a lot of other content about other stuff as well. So don't get frightened away, because I will not be just throwing away the mod coverage and all of that. This is a budget YouTube channel after all, and I'm all about covering free stuff, things like the Mariana Islands map and every other new mod that I can find that I think looks good, and even some that I don't, just for, you know, a little bit of the salt in with the sugar, basically. So there's also a lot of trees on this map in places, and that's particularly true in Israel. This actually looks really nice. I think dogfighting over this, or really doing anything over this, would get pretty interesting. And I'm really looking forward to it. And over here we actually have the coast here, with Israel being situated right on the Mediterranean. So we are actually now looking at the Mediterranean Sea as it is portrayed on this map. But yeah, that's basically my first impressions from the F-15 and more of the high level sort of view. This map looks really nice in my book. So now let's take a look at a little bit closer to the ground and see what this is like, because of course, I mean, I've covered basically all there is to cover. We've got sandy areas mixed in with almost said desert there, with forested areas and some mountainous terrain here, but a lot of flat land as well. And then of course we have water. What map would be complete without that? I hate to think of what it would be if you didn't have water, given the number of carrier-based aircraft that are in DCS World and the number of ships that are available as well. So now let's hop into my Israeli Army, or Israeli Defense Force, whatever you want to say, AH-64D Apache, and have a little bit of a closer in look at the Syria map. Alright, and now I am in the AH-64D Apache, and we're going to kind of take a low-level cruise here over the Syria map. And we are starting once again from Ramat David Air Base. And this is honestly going to be a little bit tricky because I have not actually flown the Apache for quite some time, although I'm kind of impressing myself here. Watch me do something completely stupid here in a minute now that I have said that. But I definitely like the detail in these buildings. This looks great. I put those 4 trucks there, by the way. Those aren't there by default. And gotta watch that. Really gotta watch those light poles. You'd think they'd be more careful about stuff like that with aircraft around, and whoops, yeah, I've done it. I think I may have done it. No, maybe we're good. Maybe. So let's see now. Those 2 IDF C-130s are not there by default either. I, of course, put those there as well. I'm definitely very impressed at the level of detail of these buildings. And we have hangars too, and they're not the old bomb-proof kind of low poly detail hangars that you see on the Caucasus map. These are actually very nice hangars here. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with bomb-proof hangars, except that, well, they just don't look great. These, on the other hand, these are really nice, and look at the towers next to them. I'm not actually sure what those towers are for, but just the fact that those are actually modeled there, that says quite a bit. So we're going to I think have a quick look over the airfield here, and there's not really a whole lot to see that I haven't already shown, except things like, of course, the level of detail of the trees. I'm not sure that these trees are really any different from the ones on the Mariana Islands map. I mean, they do look nice, they really do. They may actually be a little bit different because different trees will grow in an environment like this as opposed to the Mariana Islands, where you will have more tropical sort of vegetation. But I am no plant expert by any stretch of the imagination, so looking at these from this, I mean, I can sort of tell what's tropical and what's not, but that's in real life and not in DCS World. It's this stuff definitely does not look that tropical. It looks more like the kind of thing you might find in kind of the kind of areas that border on a desert, which is where we basically are here, because there, I believe, are some desert areas around here. And yeah, in case you're wondering, we are just going to be doing a tour of Ramat David Air Base today, because I really don't have time for a lot else, but just wanted to show a little bit of what we've got going on here. Now this is pretty interesting. This is like some sort of, I guess, bomb-proof hangar structure or something. It's some sort of, I guess, aircraft shelter, but it's very small. I don't know, maybe, well, this is pretty big, but the spaces inside are very small. I wonder if those will actually accommodate aircraft. They may be intended for ground vehicles, I'm not sure. And my head tracker is messing up a little bit again. And while we're here, I might as well, you know what the heck, let's just let's try to set this thing down on top of this hangar, or whatever this structure is. I think that would be cool to do. And that is going to be the tricky part. I've been doing fine so far flying this thing, especially considering that this is the first time in a couple of months that I've actually flown this. Definitely the first time within the past month that I've flown the Apache. Been playing around with the Harrier a little bit. There's a video to come shortly on that, but I don't want to give too many spoilers on that. I will. It won't be strictly about the Harrier, though. I'm going to be covering some stuff that was recently added to DCS World. And whoops. This is always the way it is. I can fly a helicopter just fine, but when it comes to actually landing it, especially landing it on something as rough as this is not flat up here. It is definitely not flat. I feel like they just kind of piled dirt on top however they felt like. Every time I try to do this, I just don't feel comfortable with the approach for whatever reason. It's usually because I feel like I'm too far to one side or the other, and I'm about to roll off, which is generally the case, but not always. I think here we go. Yeah, there we are. Well, I think I grounded my gun doing that, but it is definitely landable. Alright, well, I think that's going to do it for this first look at the Syria map. Needless to say, I'm very much impressed. Actually, one thing I want to check really quick, if my head tracker will cooperate. I'm going to use right control and pause to bring up the FPS indicator, and let's see if I can read it. Yeah, that tanked my frame rate being down. I think it's a combination of the highly detailed cockpit of the Apache. It's definitely more detailed than the F-15C's cockpit. So yeah, I'm getting about 24, 25 FPS. Really need a graphics card upgrade, I think, at some point. But we'll see how that goes. I'm, as long as I can make what I have work, because after all, this is a budget channel, remember? I think that's what I'm gonna do. But that was the only other thing I wanted to see about. Yeah, when I get up, it doesn't really do a lot for my frame rate. It's still hovering in the low 20s. If you can just see it up there, it got up there to 25 for a second. But yeah, I think it'll rise a little bit as I get higher. It does take a toll on my frame rate for sure doing this low and everything like that. And I think it's partially because of how detailed the Apache's cockpit is and how detailed this map is. But yeah, other than the hit that my frame rate is taking, which as long as I'm not too low, isn't actually that bad in my mind, because I'm used to playing with 30 to 40 FPS. Overall, I am very much impressed with the Syria map. I really like it. And I hope you all have enjoyed this video, because that's it for today. And if you'd like to see more, of course, please like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.